Welcome to the Savage Productions YouTube channel.
Hey, welcome to the channel. Thanks for checking us out today. So we got the 55 Chevy. We got some parts in here and we are ready to start working on this bad boy. We did do a little walk around video of this, so be sure to check that out. I'll leave a link in the description below on that. Once we got it in, I just had to do a little quick video, do a walk around on this thing because it's pretty cool, you know, nice car. So we got all the parts in, most of the parts. We still got just a few parts we still got to finish up, but for the most part we've got everything in that we were planning on doing to this car. And so I'm going to turn the camera around here and kind of show you what we got going on. So we are going to, first of all, we're going to change the distributor. It's got a old points distributor in it, and we're going to put electronic ignition, electronic distributor. This is the Protronics Flamethrower Igniter 2. These things are really nice. I use these in a lot of builds. They work great. I've never had any issues with them, and they're just really affordable, man, for what you get. So this one's you know, is electronic ignition. You basically just wire it up. It's very simple to wire up. You can change, you can get different caps, you can get HEI caps, you can get, you know, all sort of options with these. I chose a non-HEI cap with the male top to it, and I'll show you here the reason why we didn't go HEI. Here's the plug wires. We're going to do some Taylor spark plug wires. I like using these. We have good luck with them, and of course it's got the right ends for the cap. It's got the right ends for the heads that are on this one, and I haven't got the spark plug wire holders yet. I'm going to wait and get everything installed and then see exactly which holders we go with. We might go with the holders that actually bolt to the bottom of the valve covers on this. Makes them look really nice and keeps them off of the manifolds, the exhaust manifolds, right? So with this particular distributor, we have to go with a coil that matches the ignition on the inside of the distributor. So I'm going with the Protronics Flamethrower 2 coil. It's got the low resistance, a 0.6 ohms. That's the one that has to be ran with that particular distributor. And let's see, this here is actually the cover for the shifter, because we are swapping the manual out and putting a turbo 350 in it. And this is the shifter. It's a let's see if we can just get a picture of it. I don't have to pull it out of the box. It's a Promatic, really nice shifter. I've used this one before in another vehicle that we did some work on. This one has got a long handle, a tall base. It's really set up for a truck or a vehicle with a bench seat. And since this one has a bench seat in it, we need a shifter. There's the manual shifter, which I'll have to remove. But yeah, this shifter is really nice, and it's got a reverse switch in it, and it's got a neutral safety switch in it that we'll have to wire up. So once we get to that, I'll have it pulled out of the box, and we're probably going to do some more video on this as we go along with this build. For now, I just wanted to kind of go over what we got going on as far as the box with all the parts. Once I get the transmission out, I'll know which flywheel to get, or I should say flex plate, since we're going to an automatic. I'm not sure if this one's going to be internal balance or external balanced. You know, 350 or small block Chevrolets can go either way, so I want to wait and see what flywheel this one has on it before I order the flex plate, so I can get the right one. All right, so but anyway, I went ahead and got the ARP flex plate bolts that bolt them to the crankshaft. Oh yeah, getting back to this distributor real quick, the reason I like these is you can totally dial in your advance curve with these. It already comes with a default advance curve in the distributor. It's already got certain springs in it, but you can change the springs, and they've got these little stoppers that you can put on there to control your total timing as well as the advanced timing. So that's really cool. That's why I like these. Okay, so we're actually changing the radiator. We're going with a cold case polished aluminum radiator for the 55 Chevy, and it also has an electric fan and a polished aluminum fan shroud. And then this is the controller for the fans. There's actually 2 fans on that radiator, so that's the controller for that. And the radiator is over here in the box. I'm not going to pull that out yet. I've already looked at it, make sure it's all good. Really a nice looking unit right there. I'll get some footage of that once we get to that point. So okay, so what else? This one does have, I've actually got it pulled out. Anyway, it's got a nice chrome breather on it, but it had just a regular paper filter. So we're going to put a nice K&N filter on it. It's basically a nice tall K&N filter. This one's 3 inches tall, and it's a 14-inch, so it's going to fit his chrome breather. That's going to look nice. Between that and the red spark plug wires, it's going to look really sweet. And then once we figure out which spark plug wire holders we go with, I went ahead and went with the over the valve cover spark plug wires. You know, small block Chevy, you can get them over the valve cover or under the header. Obviously these don't have headers. These have some sort of a polished or chrome stock manifolds on them, which are really nice. So we're going with over the top spark plug wires. We'll probably go with some kind of a holder that will bolt to the lower valve cover bolts that holds the wires in place. Haven't decided which ones we're going to go with that yet. And I'm going to take this carburetor off and rebuild it. So I need to get some gaskets to take this off. We just want to clean it all up real good. This thing's been sitting a long time, and I'm sure it's a little gummy inside the carburetor, so we're going to do that. And then here's the radiator that's in it. It's a nice big radiator. It's definitely not one that would come in this car. This bracket that holds this radiator, it looks like it might have come out of a truck, and somebody did a great job installing it, as you can see, but it's very close to the fan, like really close to the fan. If I can get a good picture here of that. Yeah, you can see it right there. It's super close. So we're going to get rid of this fan and put that radiator on there that is designed for this 55 Chevy. So that's going to look nice. And since we're doing a transmission swap, we had to get a kickdown cable for the Turbo 350. There's the torque converter. It's a TCI. This one's about a 1700 stall. Don't need very much stall for this one because it does have a little cam in it. I did hear a little chop, you know, not very much, but it's got a little chop to it. So I wanted to put a nice little converter in there. And then this is the converter cover that goes to the bottom of the transmission bell housing. You know how small block Chevys have. So we had to get one of them to cover that up. And we're changing the tips. We've got some 3-inch tips with a little angle on the ends. They're rolled because these are the tips that are on it, and he doesn't really like them, and neither do I. So we're going to take them off and put these tips on. It's going to look really nice. They're going to obviously be in the same spot. We're not going to do any pipe bending, but we're going to have them set up just about right, not too far out, not too far in, and that's going to look a lot better. We've got to do something about this. They put these temporary ends on them, and where this cable is ran through the floor, there's no rubber grommet on it. So we're going to pull that through. It's actually underneath the car. We're going to pull it through. I'm going to open that hole up, put a rubber grommet in there. Don't really have to worry about the one on the ground side, obviously, but we are going to do that, and then we're going to put some permanent ends on them cables. I've already replaced the fuel tank. This tank was leaking. It's probably the original tank. That's the filler neck and the straps. And I'll lift the car up here in a second and show you what it looks like. It's already done. I went ahead and got that wrapped up. We also changed the sending unit because that one wasn't working. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. So we put a new sending unit in the new fuel tank. So that's really cool. And then this is the transmission. TCI Turbo 350. Pretty much just a little street strip version. Nothing crazy. They're very affordable. These come in at just under $2,000. No core charge. So it's really nice. These will hold 575 horsepower. I went ahead and went with the long tail shaft. They come with a 9-inch long tail shaft and a 6-inch long. I went ahead and went with a 9-inch long because I'm hoping that we can utilize the drive shaft that's in this car. If it's too long, then we can have it cut down to the correct size and put the right yoke on it for this transmission. This car actually has a 9-inch rear end in it, so I'm hoping we can use the same drive shaft to get that done. And but yeah, these are really nice. This has got obviously it's got good clutches in it. It's got some good parts in it. It's got a shift kit. That's going to be, you can either shift it manually or throw it in automatic. Really nice, man. I mean, super affordable. Of course, you can get these that will handle a whole lot more power, but for what we need, that's going to work out just great right there. So yeah, that's going to be cool. Yeah, so that is about it. I'm going to go ahead and lift this car up and show you what the gas tank looks like. Really nice piece, you know, for the money. And we just got to continue on with it at that point, right? So let me get this car lifted up. I've got this thing in the air so you can see the tank. Let me show you here. So this thing wasn't bad. It was pretty easy to put in. The hardest part was the filler neck. Got the filler neck up in there. It basically just attaches to the inner fender or the body up there. Got a new cap for it. It goes down and then it slips into the tank right there, and it's very tight. There's a big O-ring that goes around that filler neck, and of course you want to lube it up. I've got some O-ring lube, and it was a tight fit, man. I ain't gonna lie, I had to really work it to get it in there. And once I got it in, was able to get it lined up, attached the screw up there. There's actually a threaded bolt screw, whatever you want to call it, attaches it up. Got the new straps that hold it in, and this tank's got a nice coating on it. Man, it's really nice. It's powder coated. It gives it a natural metal finish, and it won't rust. So that is cool. And I also changed out the exhaust tips. As you can see, they look a lot better. It had these things on it, big old trumpets, probably what they call them, big old trumpets. But yeah, it's a lot. It was pretty easy to do that. I basically just cut them off right here at the very end, and I measured the pipe, and I got the correct size inside diameter on these tips. These are stainless steel. They're polished stainless steel tips with a nice little angled tip to them, and they're rolled edges. The rolled edges look really nice. And you know, I forget how much they were. They're a little bit more money than, you know, something like that, but they last a long time and they look really good. And you could either weld them on, or they actually came with these clamps. So that was really nice. I was able to slip them on. I measured them out really nice, you know, to get them exactly the same, and tightened them up. And that's it. They look really good. I already had the car lowered down, and that's going to be nice. So now I'm in the process. Let me get my light here. I already did this, but so the battery is in the trunk, and I see this a lot. You know, I get cars in here that have battery relocation kits in the trunk, or whatever it may be, whether it's a fuel system or whatever. And I see a lot of this, they run these cables through metal and they don't put any rubber grommets on them. So that's a big no-no when it comes to a battery cable, right? Or any positive cable for that matter, especially a battery cable. So this cable was ran through this hole, and it was very tight, and it was already, I mean, it's probably been years, right? So it's going to take a while, but there's a pretty good gouge right there, you know. And this jacket is not very thick, so it was only a matter of time before that was going to rub through and cause a major problem, you know what I mean? So I went ahead and opened this hole up. I've got a whole set of these right here. Got them from Summit Racing. They go from small to large, and these are cool. Like, you can get them, they'll actually tell you what size. So if you look at the A is the outside diameter of the wire or wires that's going through there. That gives you the diameter of the hole. And then B is going to be the wall thickness. You know, that's how thick it is between the outside of the hole you drill and the inside. And then C would be the size of the hole that you drill. So in this case, I used this one here. It was a so basically a 5/8 hole I had to drill, and then it would fit a 1/2 inch wire. So this cable fits in there perfect, and I'm just gonna have to straighten this up a little bit. I don't want to cut this. I'd like to cut it off, but there's not any more room for this cable. I don't have any more room. That's another thing. When you run cable like this, you want to allow extra room. You want the cable to be longer. So whenever I run the cable, I always make sure I have an extra cable in the trunk. You know, not so much looping it, but you want extra cable there somewhere, so in case you have to redo this, you have some cable to do it. Well, there's no room all the way to the front of this. It runs all the way to the front and goes to the starter, right? And there's no extra room at all. And it was pulled really tight in this hole, so I can't do anything about that unless I want to extend it. But I can make this work. I'm just going to put it back in the hole, and I'm going to put me a permanent end on it. They had temporary cable ends on it, and I'm going to put a permanent end on this thing. So that's what I'm doing now, and then I will lower it down, and I still got to go get the ends. You can see I already got the ground cable taken off. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and lower this thing down, get that cable up in there, and I think the next thing I'm going to do is drop the transmission out. I'm going to go ahead and get the drive shaft off. I want to drain the transmission, get the drive shaft off, unhook the linkage, get the transmission dropped out of there. That's going to be the next thing. So I'm basically just working from the back to the front. Here is the transmission. I've got a new yoke for this transmission, and then it's also going to attach to the drive shaft, which is more or less a Ford style drive shaft because it's got a Ford 9-inch rear end on it. And I had to get the right U-joint to attach from that yoke to the drive shaft. So I got to do that still. But yeah, you can see the transmission is nice. You know, it comes with a nice chrome pan. It's got a drain plug on it, which is cool, in case you ever wanted to change the fluid and filter. There's the cable for the shifter. We got it set up already. And I went ahead and got a metal line for the vacuum modulator instead of running a hose up. So we got that already ran up there, and we attached it, you know, right there, just so it wouldn't flop around too bad. And we had to put another starter on it because the starter that was on that other transmission was not going to work. So we had to get another starter. We even got a bracket that supports the starter back here. And the exhaust is not touching, but it's a little close. So I want to put some header wrap around this exhaust right here. That'll keep it from getting too hot. This one's got a little 1700 TCI stall, just enough for the little cam that's in this motor. Nothing too big. I talked about the flywheel. Once we got transmission out, I had to see what flywheel, because small block Chevys, you know, 350s, they come internal or external. Well, it turns out that this is a 400 small block. It does have an external large harmonic balancer on the front, and the back had a internal balanced it had an internal balanced flywheel, but it had what you would call a counterweight that would bolt on, you know, between the flywheel and the flex plate or the balancer. Let me show you. Right there. If you were using a let's say a small block 400 with a small block 350 internally balanced flywheel or flex plate, you would use one of these on the back. It basically bolts between the crankshaft and the flywheel or flex plate. Or if you had a 388 stroker that you were using a 400 crankshaft with an internal balanced flex plate or flywheel, you would use this. So we just ended up getting, let me throw this in here. We just ended up getting a externally balanced 168 tooth flex plate for 400 small block Chevy. That's what we ended up putting on it. So worked out fine. And it's also an SFI. So we wanted to do that deal. So all that's done. We got we drained the oil out, new filter on it. We just got to plug it. And then here's the cover. You know, we went ahead and got a new cover for it. So we just got to put that on. So yeah, before we put that on, we're gonna turn this thing over and make sure the starter's lined up good. It did come with shims, but a lot of times you don't really have an issue with that if you get all the right stuff, but sometimes you do. Sometimes you gotta shim them, so we're gonna do that. All right, we're gonna go ahead and continue on with this deal. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and kind of pick up where I left off before on this build. Just kind of go over some of the stuff that we've already done and what we have left to do. So I haven't really been recording what we're doing on this because there's really a lot of work to be done on this car. I mean, we've done a lot, man. So many, you know, some stuff is just taking a while, and we got a lot of little stuff we got to do to it. So I want to just kind of go over some of the stuff we've done. So as you know, we did the exhaust tips. We got rid of those big old ugly tips that were on there and put some nice 3-inch tips. They look so much better. This is pretty much what we have left to finish up. So we did have to run some reverse lights back here. This car did not come with reverse lights. Believe it or not, some of these had reverse lights and some of them didn't. So this car did not. So with the shifter that we put in here, we did that Hurst Promatic shifter, and it's got a reverse light switch on it. It's got a neutral safety switch on it. So we've got the neutral safety switch hooked up, and we ran the wires from this Hurst shifter back here for the reverse lights, since there was no wires ran back here. So all we got to do is we've got it run back here. We've got one wire that's going to go to this light, and then the other wire will go to this light. And we still got to finish that up. That's what these wires are for. So as far as finishing it up, we've got a nice big K&N filter. We haven't sprayed it with any oil yet. That will be red when we spray it. We got a nice little bow tie to hold the filter down. We've got a nice polished aluminum coolant overflow bottle that we have to mount on there still. That's going to be real nice. This is the fuel feed line that's going on the carburetor. The one they had on it was one of them, just some standards, you know, chrome ones. And we went with this one. I really like these kind. It's got a 90-degree filter. You can get these in anodized red, black, blue. We just went ahead and went with the natural aluminum finish. And it's got another 90 here for a push lock hose. We're going to run a push lock on it. This is a low-car stainless steel flexible transmission dipstick tube that mounts on the firewall. And I'll show you why in a minute. We did a firewall mount. There's just not any room for a bell housing mount. We still have to install the Protronics distributor. These are really nice. We're going to go ahead and replace the coil with the Protronics coil. Customer wants to go ahead and put some of the badging on. This car does not have any badging at all. So this here's the hood ornament. It's the big airplane wing, as they call it. So we got to put that on. This piece here goes on the front of the hood below this. So we got to put that on. Some 55s had this piece on the back of the hood as well. And some of them had this piece on. So he chose to go with this one on the trunk, and obviously that one for the hood. And these Bel Air emblems, they actually go right here. So we're going to be putting those on. We've already got the back seats out to run the cable, or the wiring I should say, for the reverse lights. So we have to pop the window handles off so we can get the panels off, because we have to access the other side of this. These particular ones, you got to drill a small hole, and they actually pop in the hole, and they are held in by just these little washers that you push in on the back side. So we got to access the back for that. Got them for both sides. And then these actually go on the sides as well, but they kind of go right here. Like one would go here and then the Bel Air, or it might be the other way around. We may have the Bel Air and then this one in front of the Bel Air. I'm not sure. I looked at the picture. There's a picture of the way these are supposed to go, and that's the way we're going to put them. We did repair the cables, the battery cables. They had some temporary ends on them. Got those taken care of with some good ends. These are the Taylor spark plug wires. We went with the red ones over the valve cover style. We got to put them on. And let me show you here. I've already got the carburetor taken apart. I'm rebuilding it. This one is it's a Holley 650 vacuum secondary. It's actually it's just in rough shape. I mean, the car ran fine, but it's really dirty. And man, when I took this thing apart, this car has sat for a while. That carburetor had a lot of stuff in it from sitting. But you know, this one, it's you know, it'll turn out nice. I've got a complete kit for it right there, and it's all apart. I've got everything completely tore apart, ready to start cleaning. Get everything cleaned up really well, and then I will put it all back together. So before I put the carburetor on, I'm going to put the distributor in, because as you know, small block Chevys, the distributor, they are in the back. So we are going to drop this new distributor in. We're going to pull that one out. That one's got points on it. We're going to clean this up. We're not going to have to remove it, but we're going to clean this intake up as best as we can, so it looks better because it's really nasty. We went ahead and did new valve cover gaskets because they were leaking a little bit. We had to do an oil pan gasket because that was leaking. So I'm going to do something with this PCV hose. I'm going to change that, make that look better. This is going to be replaced with the Protronics one, and we're going to actually turn it in the upright position because the low car transmission dipstick tube is going to come up through here and mount right about right here, and this will be in the way, so we're going to turn it up. We've already ran the cooler lines. We actually had to make these because the length was about 8 foot on one and 6 foot on the other, so we actually got some number 6 AN PTFE, and we made them. They turned out really well. We've got them coming up. We've got them attached to the firewall. Real nice. Got them going down, and then they go into the radiator. This radiator is really sweet. We put this on. It's a cold case aluminum radiator, and it's basically designed for these cars. We did have to get some brackets to mount on the front side. We couldn't mount it on the inside because of the electric fan that comes with it, right? So we mounted it on the outside, and then we ended up relocating the AC condenser to the outside of the radiator, and we had to make some brackets up. And I used all stainless steel nuts and washers, and these are even stainless steel, these little bolts. That way they won't rust. And we got just enough room between there and the radiator. And I mean, it's solid. It's not moving at all. And we just had this actually fit very well. We had to bend this just a little bit to fit out there. So yeah, that looks really nice. We had to go with a flex hose. I really wanted to get like a stainless steel flex hose or something, but there was just no room between there. So we just went with that one. It's a little long. We needed something about 18 inches, and all they had was a 20-inch hose, but went ahead and put it on. It fits, and I'm going to actually look and see if I can get an 18-inch hose to work, because I really don't like the way this thing goes up too high. But you know, that's the way a lot of them are, you know. So let's see what else. We got to straighten all this up, of course. We've already got the new starter in. This is going to be, you know, attached real nice here. We're going to put that in wire loom because all this is going to be rewired for the new coil. And then the fuel line. We ran a new fuel line. This is a push lock 3/8 hose, and we've got it attached real nice, going up and around and down into the fuel pump. We're going to have another push lock hose. It's already attached to the fuel pump. It's going to come up, and we have to cut the fit right here, but it's going to go into that push lock that you've seen on. Let me grab it just so you guys can see. It really is going to turn out good. I went ahead and kind of put this in when I had the carburetor on. I just wanted to make sure it fit good. So it's basically going to sit just about like, it actually sits about like that right there. And of course you can adjust this any way you need it. But as you can see, the hose is going to come up and actually plug right into that. So that's going to look a lot nicer than what they had. And it's got a little place I could put a fuel gauge, pressure gauge on there, which I think would look better. It doesn't need it because that fuel pump is this motor probably only has about 270 horse, 300 horse, whatever. It doesn't have very much. Just got a little cam in it. This is actually a 400 small block. It's got a little cam in it, you know, a little carburetor. But, you know, it would look better to have a little gauge on there, so I might put a gauge on there. The owner was like, I don't need a gauge. I'm like, okay. So we got that going. We replaced the donut gaskets on the exhaust manifolds. And just been doing some tidying up. We've got, let me show you this shifter. It turned out real nice. I mean, it did. These shifters are really good for anybody that has a truck with a bench seat, or even a truck period where the seat sits up kind of high, or if you have a bench seat like this in a car. You know, this thing is, you don't have to worry about it, you know, reaching for it. This is a long handle, and this thing has such a pretty high hump here that we probably could have went with a shorter handle, but you know, these are just, they're just nice. You know, you basically lift it up, pop it in reverse, lift it up again, down for neutral, down, there you go. And then from there, that's what it does right there. It stays in that position. It won't come down and stay like this. It stays in that position. That's in first. You want to go to second, you got second, you got third, which is drive. And then if you want to go to neutral, you do that, and then you have to pop it up to go in reverse, and then you have to go up again to go to park. So those are really cool. We've got it mounted really nice and secure. We've got a little light that's in there. It lights up when you turn the lights on. And like I say, neutral safety switch, we've got it hooked up. It's got to be in park or neutral before it spins the starter over. And then of course we got the reverse lights where we had to run the wires to the back like I showed you. But yeah, so that's pretty nice. And it almost looks like period correct, man, for this car. It really just looks good in there. Yeah, I like that. That's cool. I still got to put the U-joint on the drive shaft and put the drive shaft in, and then we got to put fluid in it at that point. So, but yeah, we're going to go ahead and finish this video up. And what I'll do is I'll have another video when this car is completely done and running, because I got to set the carburetor up, I got to set the timing and all that stuff. Make sure we have no coolant leaks and, you know, no transmission leaks. So we'll have another video for that. Anyway, I do appreciate you guys checking us out. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and don't forget to hit that notification bell for some more videos coming out. We've got a lot of work scheduled already in this shop. It's unbelievable. I haven't been posting anything really. Haven't really had time to put out videos. We've just been so busy. I've got 2 guys here now working, and we've been crazy. I mean, we're pretty much scheduled all through winter already. We are booked out. We got winter projects, so I haven't really been taking on any more jobs. So that's cool. Go ahead and finish this video. Appreciate it. Like I said, be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, we'll see you on the next video.